everyone, my name is Chrissy and welcome to my channel. Today I'm bringing to you a tag, but before I even talk about that, I just want to say I finally have a good space to film. My partner is amazing and he's the one who primarily organized our spare room so that I could film because he knows it makes me so happy. So I'm so grateful to him and everything he does. Such love. Such love. So yes, I'm doing a tag. It's called the 21 Questions tag. I was originally tagged by Lucifer from Argyle Dinosaur, and I believe it was originally done by Adrian. I'll link the channels down in the description. But let's get into this. Question number 1, if you had a time machine, what time would you go back and visit? I probably wouldn't go back in time, mainly because there'd be a few questions I would have. For one, like, do I have to interact with people? Like, can people see me when I go back in time? Or am I invisible? Am I just an observer? Will I have a translator to let me know what's happening back in time? Because if none of those things are in place, I don't necessarily know if I'd go back in time. It sounds like it would be a not great trip otherwise. Though I suppose I could go into, like, a really recent time. Like, I've heard the 80s was okay. Number 2, would you rather have a beach house or a house in the mountains? I think practically for where I live right now, I'd probably pick a house in the mountains. I live by the Sandias, and there's tons of houses in those mountains, so that just makes the most sense to me. Beach house would be fun, though I'd be afraid of, like, you know, hurricanes and stuff. In the mountains, you have, like, bears and mountain lions, but I feel like as long as your home is fortified, you wouldn't have to worry too much about that. Like, you could sprint to your car and I think be okay. Number 3, what was your favorite game as a child? Depends on what you mean by game. If you mean video game, then on the Game Boy, Pokemon Red or Blue, doesn't matter. And also Nintendo 64, Diddy Kong Racing, those were my favorite games. Can't even really tell you why. They're just entertaining to me. However, if you're talking about games on a playground or a park, then Red Rover was probably one of my favorites, and that's because of the Bloodlust. Number 4, what food do you crave most often? And I feel like a lot of people in my life would think cupcakes because I talk about it a lot. I feel like the food that I crave most often is actually rice. Growing up, we had rice with a lot of our meals, almost every meal. And so whenever I do eat dinner or even lunch, I'm like, there really should be rice with this. Even if it's like a sandwich from Subway. I'm like, they could do it with a side of rice. Number 5, if you could visit one place on Earth, where would you go? I have a lot of places I'd like to visit. Like, I'd love to go to Japan, and I would love to go to some of the places that my parents told me about and that they've been. I'd love to go visit the Philippines to go see some of my relatives. I'd love to go to Puerto Rico to also see some of my other relatives. But I think if I were to pick one spot, it'd be Hobbiton in New Zealand. Number 6, what would your dream house be like? As long as it had a decent-sized kitchen and a place where I could put wall-to-wall bookshelves to have, like, a little library and more than 2 bathrooms. Like 3 bathrooms, I think, would be ideal. Then we'd be good. Otherwise, as long as everything in the house worked and there's sufficient insulation, who am I to complain? Number 7, if you could own any 3 cars, what would they be? I'm not a car person at all. The only car I can even name, besides the cars that I have, are like the Subaru Impreza. So that one. And I know nothing else. As long as it works, it doesn't really matter to me what car it is. Number 8, what makes you angriest? If I were to pick anything that could summarize what makes me angriest in this world, it would be a documentary called The Trial of Gabriel Hernandez. Now, granted, it doesn't have, you know, everything that would make me, get to a certain level of anger, but it certainly is, I think, a good example of things that just make me very mad. Number 9, what always brings a smile to your face? Of course, I'm going to be a little bit sappy here and just say that with my loved ones, when they're happy, I'm happy. What's guaranteed to bring a smile to my face is when I'm talking with someone who's passionate about something. If you have a passion and you share it with me and you show the amount of enthusiasm and excitement that you have for that passion, guaranteed I'm smiling along with you, because I think that's fantastic. I love when people have things that they enjoy in life and that they like to share those enjoyments, because I think sometimes people run across others who aren't very kind to them when they share their enjoyment, like people mocking you for still liking 90s boy bands, that kind of thing. But if that's the thing that you like and you're passionate about it and you're talking with me about it, love it. Love it. Number 10, which song reminds you the most of your life? Probably What's My Age Again by Blink-182. More just because of the song title than everything else in the song, so that main line. 11, which is more important, truth or happiness? I don't know. Okay, truth, I'm gonna say, not because I don't think being happy is important, but rather because I don't think that you can be happy all the time, and I actually think that is sometimes a little bit unhealthy of an expectation that people have, is that they always expect themselves to be happy, or if I'm not happy, then something's wrong with me. And that's not the case at all. It's actually really healthy to feel other emotions. Now, if you're talking about, can you really be happy if you know the truth about things? That's a whole different conversation, and I feel like that's going way too much into a philosophy question that I just don't know enough about anything to answer. Number 12, would you rather be rich or famous? Rich. Number 13, if you were a superhero, what powers would you have? I feel like super speed would be helpful. Number 14, how tall would your ideal partner be? Since I am with my ideal partner, he's about like 6'1", so that. Number 15, if you would change anything about yourself, what would it be? I feel like it would be easy to say that I would change something about my looks, which I am lucky in life to have people who love me as I am. And so changing my looks I don't think would matter so much. So I would say if I could change anything about myself, how fast I process information. I would love to be able to soak up information at a faster rate and be able to understand it at a faster rate. Okay, number 16, would you rather trade some intelligence for looks or looks for intelligence? Looks for intelligence. I think looks fade over time anyway. Number 17, if your parents hated your partner, would you dump them? Depends on what they didn't like them for. I feel like if you have parents who dislike your partner no matter what your partner does, then no, I'm not going to dump them because my parents don't like them. But if my partner said something mean to my parents or just wasn't kind or considerate to them, I'd have a problem with that, mainly just because I don't want to be with someone who's not in terms kind or considerate. Number 18, if you could choose one celebrity to mother, father your child, who would it be? Yeah, I don't know. Really, I just want to share a cake with that person. Is that weird? That's probably weird. Number 19, you'll be fired the next time you're late to work, but on your way in, a dog is drowning in a stream on the side of the road. What would you do? I would film myself saving it so that when I got into work, I could show my manager what I was doing. And that way, they would excuse that absence because my manager loves animals. So I think if I saved an animal, he would be very understanding to that. Number 20, what animal would you be and why? I want to say something graceful like a great horned owl or a wolf, but it's probably going to be more of a sloth. 21, if you could take on any trade, what would it be? Plumbing or sanitation? Those guys get great benefits. At least that's that's my mindset. If anyone is in plumbing or sanitation, the sanitation guys that take away the garbage in the morning, they have good benefits, right? And I think they have a pretty good pay package. That seems like it'd be practical. And if I could talk to my younger self, I would talk to my younger self about going into a trade, going to a trade school instead of university. So that is my 21's questions tag. I open it up to anyone who would like to do this tag. And if you do want to be tagged in videos, please comment down below or even hit me up on Twitter, because I want to start actually tagging people, but I don't want to do so randomly without people wanting to. So I'm always down to be tagged if you want to tag me. It may take me a while to do it, but I love being tagged. Thank you so much for watching, and as always and forever, may you get lost in the book.